Hello, lovely beings. Welcome to today's episode of Awaken Mindset. 'Tis I, your host and energy guide, Autumn Oakley. So, today's episode, I wanted to talk about how to truly let go and the path of expansion. So, we all say it, that we just need to let go. And we all say, how? We all know it's really hard to let go sometimes. So, these are the 6 areas I believe are best to draw your focus to help you on the journey of letting go. So, number 1 of these areas of letting go on a path of growth expansion is to bring your awareness to the core reason of why you're holding on in the first place. Yes, that's the hard truth. It's about digging deeper and deeper, going through the layers to understand the reason as to why you're holding on to the thing you're trying to let go. And the layers will get deeper. What I recognize and what many people focus on is like the one thing. It's like when we focus on a relationship and you've parted ways and you don't know how to let go of that relationship. A lot of the time we perceive that's the core. That's not always the core. So it's about peeling back the layers and getting real honest with yourself to understand that you are the creator of your reality. Why is it you are letting this have control over you moving on, moving forward, letting go of this thing? Because you're continuing to manifest a lot of the same until you let go of this thing. So what element, what feeling, what detail at your core is leading you to hold on to this thing that is no longer in your life or needs to shift in your life so that you can truly let go? And the example I used, with a relationship and you parted ways, because this one comes up a lot. Then we don't know how to let go. And we say that we love them, and yes, there was love there. I would hope there was love there, and that's a beautiful thing. But there's something else aside from the relationship of why you're holding on to the relationship. We can talk about soul ties and twin flames and all of these details, but a lot of the time, sometimes I view that as an excuse, that it leads us to an excuse that we don't actually have to let go. We can hold hope that in future they'll come back. So it's about getting really intentional, really uncomfortable to peel back the layers of that. So first off, we probably perceive the main element that we're holding on to this thing we don't know how to let go, this relationship. Even though we've parted ways, we don't talk anymore, whatever it is. But we still can't seem to let go. We're still holding on to this relationship. We say there's a soul tie, there's a twin flame connection. There was deep meaning there. And I really hope that there was a deep meaning there because love is a beautiful thing. But there's an element to say that, with the laws of attraction and all of these things, there's a law of detachment. And there's an element of why you will not detach. There's an element, aside from the relationship itself, of a lesson you need to learn and bring your awareness to for you to heal of yourself so you can let that go. And this is what comes up a lot of the time is like things that we feel like we're struggling with, they're actually the answer that we need to help us let go of the elements of ourself, the self-awareness that we need to awaken so that we can truly step into a different embodiment of self. We can let go of the elements that are no longer us that need to shift and be let go. So when we view it's the relationship, when you dig deep and ask the hard questions, we can peel back the layers to say, okay, what is it that I'm feeling within myself that I don't feel I'm whole without this person? Yes, love is a beautiful thing, but you still should feel whole and loved with yourself. So it's to understand maybe it's about going into past traumas. Where was that void coming from? And I'm not saying they were filling a void, but what I am saying is that there's an element that you can't seem to let go of at this moment in time. And that's an element of you, yourself, your relationship with yourself, something you're holding on to. Whether it is, peeling back the layers of your traumas to understand that maybe you didn't feel, seen, heard, loved in a very long time, and that was the first time you felt that. You don't want to let that go, and that's natural. That's a part of life. That's a part of being human. For us to understand, like, maybe we felt lonely for a long time. Maybe this was a really deep connection, and that is beautiful. But we need to understand that that's for us to learn to feel that within ourselves. That is the lesson we need to understand that, yes, somebody being in your life can expand and heighten your love, the, magnitude of how amazing you are as a person. But it shouldn't be an issue of us feeling like we can't let go of something because we don't have it. We feel a lot of the time we can't let go of things because we don't want to, because we know once we let go we need to grieve, and once we grieve and we actually heal and we finally completely let that go, it's gone forever. But there's an element that needs to be done on the path of expansion. So it's about understanding there's a core to that. It's not just the relationship itself. So me personally, I couldn't let go of things for a very long period of time. And I couldn't let go of things, and I stayed in the relationships. I communicated, that they weren't being reciprocated, but I stayed. I couldn't let go of the relationships. It was leading me into a lot of struggle, a lot of pain. But it's an element of being human. We have a hard time letting go. Even if the person is still in our lives, if the person is no longer in our lives, we have a hard time letting go of old parts of ourselves. We have a hard time letting go of old careers, old thought processes. We have a hard time letting go of the thing that we thought we always wanted to pursue, and now it doesn't feel good anymore, but now we don't know what to do, so we don't want to let go of this job. We have a hard time letting go of a lot of things as humans. So it's for us to understand, all the layers, all of the details, they all come back to you and your foundations. So the reason in past, I couldn't let go of relationships, even though they were leading me into self-harm, they were leading me into stress, they were leading me into chronic illness, not to place blame on anyone else. That was for me to choose, that I needed to shift my life, I needed to set boundaries, I needed to step into my inner power, my embodiment, and that's what it was. Peeling back the layers of those, I couldn't let go because I didn't have these qualities. I couldn't let go because I felt codependent. I couldn't let go because I didn't know how to live on my own. I couldn't let go because of all of these elements I didn't hold of the relationship with myself. And this is the clue. This is what the universe is leading you to. When we feel we can't let go of something, even if it is somebody we've lost, which is always very hard and very sad as well, there is an element that we're meant to learn. There is an element that we are meant to learn in letting go of this thing, that we understand that it doesn't mean anything bad. It just means that we need to let it go energetically. It just means that we need to let go of this, relationship, this thing that once was, so that we can welcome in different things, so that we can elevate and expand on this journey of growth and expansion. So in digging deep and going through the details, you really uncover the truths of yourself that is a part of this expansive journey of self-awareness, to understand that I wasn't letting go because of all the elements I didn't hold in a relationship with myself. I didn't have self-trust. I didn't hold a lot of responsibility. I felt codependent. I didn't have a lot of self-love. I didn't want to let go of these things to try to fill that void that I just hadn't, built within myself. So that is the process. And that is when you start to change your embodiment of yourself and you start experiencing that in your reality in a different way. So peel back the layers to uncover the core reason as to why you feel like you can't let go. And when we lose someone suddenly, yes, it's hard to let go of that as well. It's hard to lose things, people, opportunities. It's always hard in a time of loss, and that's for us to grieve that. But there always is an element of why this happened this way. There always is an element of something we're meant to change, shift, learn, so that we can become a different self and make a change in this world. Because sometimes when we lose someone we love, it actually helps us to bring awareness when we grieve that loss, to understand the beauty of the relationship. It's for us to understand that they taught us things that, we may have never experienced without them. It's for us to understand that, in a loss of someone, we perhaps had never felt such a strong tie with someone. And then when we lose them, that's the depth of emotion that pushes us to pursue new things. That's the depth of emotion that catapults us into the change of our lives. That is the depth of emotion that catapults us into, being able to step into our leadership role in those things. All the things that perhaps we didn't want to or didn't feel that we would embark on prior to, when you lose someone perhaps to, a car accident because of a drunk driver, that could move you on a deep level to bring that change into the world, to really promote, sober driving, to be catapulted in a different way when we feel so much loss is unfortunately sometimes just an element of where we're meant to go in life, an element of what we're meant to feel, to grieve, to let go, so that we can become a different embodiment of ourselves, and so that we can step into our path to really change the world. Because, this path of expansion, it's not just about you. It's about everyone. It's about the collective. It's about the community. It's about people. It's about being of service to others by getting out of your own way and healing the parts of yourself that you're projecting to the world that aren't benefiting other people. That is the goal. That is, the journey of expansion, unbecoming what we've come to know in our wounds in society that's been conditioned for us to understand that we are amazing, we are infinite, we are pure, we are capable of anything. And that is the journey of self. So number 2 of letting go. Look at why you accept this in your life. I know, a harsh truth, but we are the co-creators of reality. So it is us who is accepting this into our lives, whether it's how we're approaching the situation or how someone is showing up in our lives. And we're accepting that behavior, we're accepting those words, whatever it may be. So when it comes to the fact of, letting go, we need to really reflect on the reason as to why we're accepting this to stay, why we're accepting this element to control our lives, our mindset, for us not to let go of this thing. So after doing grieving, it's about also some self-reflection to understand, why am I accepting this to control my life? Why am I accepting this to, continue on my path? When we have a hard time letting go, that's what we want to change. We're like, I don't know how to let go. I don't know how to let go. And it goes on for months. It can go on for years. We don't know how to let go of things. But that is the big question we have to ask ourselves, like, why do we accept this? Why do we accept that we can't let go? What element of ourselves do we need to shift and change with that? Because we're the co-creators of reality. So if you feel that you can't let go of a past relationship and you're really struggling with that in doing all of these other steps, sometimes it's about getting real raw and real honest with yourself to say, why do I accept this in my life? What was it about this relationship that triggered me into this element of not letting go? And sometimes it is about us understanding, like, it's about wounds. It's about what we've come to know, that perhaps we're holding on to these things because it's what we've come to know. Sometimes it's for us to understand, like, we can't let go of something, not because it was, healthy, but because it's what we've come to know, and we accept that into our lives. So when you're having a hard time letting go of perhaps a relationship that perhaps was, not healthy, and you're really struggling to let that go, and you're like, but I love them, but they were awful to me, they cheated on me, whatever it may be. That's for you to self-reflect. Why do I accept that this relationship was, so strongly tied to me when they didn't treat me right? Why did I accept that? Why did I accept that during the relationship? And why am I accepting that it's holding control over my life now? So, deep. I know. We got to get deep into the self-awareness of things to really reflect on why we're holding on to these things. And it's about asking the hard question, like, why am I accepting this to continue? That you'll have to do the self-reflection, but you'll understand a deeper meaning, a deeper core to the reason why you're holding on to this thing. And yes, we can go through the layers, and it's typically about past traumas and those things. But in this detail, when we're talking about why did I accept this into my life, it's really about the relationship you hold with yourself. It's about you understanding that, hey, you know what? I don't treat myself right in this way, and that's why I accept this, because relationships often act as a mirror. So if you're looking at a relationship and you're wondering why you accepted this into your life, why you're accepting the fact that you can't let it go and it's just continuing and you want to let it go and move on, that's for us to say, okay, relationships act as a mirror. What was it of why they didn't treat me well? Why did I accept that into my life? I need to dig into that. I need to understand that my relationship with myself needs some work. I need to understand that while perhaps, I really want to let go of this relationship, I'm still holding on to it. Okay, what detail is that about? Why am I accepting this? Why am I accepting the relationship of, this person to control the relationship with myself? And it always, is just about details of experience, all of these fun things. But in the end, it comes down to the relationship with you and yourself that it's going to, bring forth that change. And number 3, grieve it. The most obvious. But to truly let go, you need to grieve. And grief is a yo-yo of different emotions. So you need to feel what's coming up. If you're angry, go to a kickboxing class. If you are feeling, sad, lonely, cry it out, take some time in solitude. Grief goes in all these different waves of things. So try to grieve in the healthiest, space possible. But understand that, you need to really feel everything that's coming up. You really need to feel the different emotions to truly purge it out and grieve this loss. And it's in the grief, though, in time, there will come a moment that you let go. But until you grieve, you're going to hold that tie. Until you actually give yourself the opportunity to grieve, you won't be able to let go because you're holding on to it. Because when we grieve, we actually let go. So in letting go, that's the biggest step you can take is grief. The biggest step to take in any area of life that you want to let go and shift, it's about grieving. And that includes, the versions of ourselves we've come to know. When we're trying to let go of an old, habit, an old perception, an old belief system, an old way that we used to approach life and things, that is a version of you. And that person is dying or they no longer resonate with you. That's something to grieve. That's something that's very valid. And that's why in letting go of anything, there is a process of grief. But I like to view it in this way, is that if we're truly on a path of expansion, of growth, we're always in a process of grief. So it's not something to fear. It's not something to be like, oh my God, I don't want to go through all the grief. If we're truly growing and expanding all the time, to some extent, even if we're not always aware of it, we're grieving those parts of ourselves. We're grieving the things we're letting go. We're grieving the opportunities and careers that no longer resonate with us. We're constantly grieving what is being lost, what is being shifted out of our lives, what we're choosing to leave and change. It's a continuous journey of grief, the journey of life. So when you view it in this way, it becomes less of a, more heavy emotional thing and more of a part of the journey, a part of life is that, hey, you know what? This is amazing. Maybe it doesn't feel amazing in the moment, but I'm growing, I'm changing. And that means I'm grieving. And that means, in this process, I'm giving myself the permission to let go. Because once we let go, you experience your growth and change in your reality. But until you let go, until you grieve, you won't experience that change. You'll just be holding on, experiencing a lot of the same. The next step of letting go is to ask the deep roots as to why this makes you feel unsafe. Because letting go is about safety. Letting go is about feeling safe in your nervous system. So when we have a hard time letting go, that's for us to understand that there's an element we don't feel safe in letting go. There's an element that we feel that, there's something wrong with letting go. So when we let go of this tie and it's gone forever, when we let go of this career that, exhausts us but doesn't align with what brings us joy, when we let go of an old version of ourselves, an old habit, but we're really holding on or really struggling to let that part of ourselves go and grieve that part and set that free, it's for us to understand there's an element of it feeling unsafe to us in our nervous system. And that's just because of our wiring as humans. We only really feel safe in what we've come to know, even if it is something that is harmful to you, even if it is something that is not healthy in any way, even if it's something that's restricting you from a healthy lifestyle, even if it's restricting you from greater abundance in love, in connections, in finances. The body knows what it knows in your nervous system. And the ego, the mind, likes to lead you into the repetitive patterns of the subconscious mind of what it's come to know. So it's in asking the question why is me letting go of this thing feeling unsafe? And that will help you to self-reflect on a detail of a core within yourself, of your mindset, maybe a past wound that you need to address and heal so that you can make that shift in your life. So that will be a unique self-reflection to understand that looking at why this makes you feel unsafe will help to bring clarity of what it is that you're actually holding on to, why you're holding on to this thing that you're trying to let go. And the next step to letting go is to choose the hardest, most unknown path. The most unknown, hardest thing. So, why do I say this? We need to go into the darkness to bring light to things. That is the path of expansion. That is the path of letting go. That is the path of truth. And that even goes with saying letting go, it requires grief. So you need to intentionally go there. You need to go into what's uncomfortable to grieve these things, to do these things. So when you're really trying to gain clarity of why you can't let go of something, it's for you to self-reflect in accordance to that thing that's being let go. What is the hardest, most unknown thing that I could pursue? What is the hardest, most unknown thing that is calling to me in accordance to this that I really just don't want to do? Whether that is, understanding I can't let go of this, connection with my parent. I understand their family, but perhaps they are not healthy in my life. So then it's for us to self-reflect on, why can't I let this go? Because it's bringing me into self-harm. It's bringing me into, chronic illness of the mental. Doesn't matter how many times I communicate, doesn't matter how many boundaries I set. There's an element that's really just not aligned with, my own safety of how I feel in my life, in my nervous system. It is draining my energy, whatever it is, but I can't let go. Because I know we love to say, like, family is family, but that's not really a thing. We always like to say, like, it's about blood. Family is about people who want you to grow and want you to feel good. Family is about people who are willing to grow and change and to encourage you to do the same, to ensure that regardless of how it makes them feel, they want you to get to an elevated space. And that comes with letting go. If you letting go of something is bringing you to a better space, if it's really love, we say it's like family, but if it's really love, they want that for you. They want you to let go of something, even if it's, for a period of time, communication with them, something that's really, really, really hard. The most difficult thing you don't want to do that you've never done before, that's really unknown. People that love you understand that it's bringing you to a healthier space. People understand that you letting go of something is for the purpose of your health, your well-being, your authenticity, your willingness to step into the path, the career, the pursuit of your dreams, whatever it is. People who really love you understand that. Sometimes we need to let go of things and shift things in our lives for us to, brave that change, to live a beautiful life, to find a healthier way, to feel better in our bodies and our minds, to manifest a different experience that we're meant to pursue. And that's what it means when we talk about certain things, is like the hardest thing that we don't want to do is the thing we need to pursue. So whether it is, just that example there of, going no contact with a family member, that might be the hardest thing you don't want to face. That might be the thing you're like, I don't know how to let go of this. Test the waters, go no contact for 6 months. See how that makes you feel. See how that makes you feel after. Do the hardest thing. Because it's in doing the hardest thing, you bring awareness to things. You bring awareness of what actually needs to shift to be let go of your life. Sometimes it is a relationship, unfortunately. Sometimes it's an understanding that, you were showing up in a different way as well. So it's about setting boundaries and understanding that you need to heal a part of yourself. Sometimes it is about, the element that you can't let go because, there is an element of fear of being alone. There are all these different details that will come to light when you choose the hardest thing and bring that to your awareness. So when you're struggling to let go of something, you really need to go into the unknown. You really need to choose the hardest thing you don't want to do to bring light to the things of why you can't seem to let go of whatever it is you're looking to let go. Whether that is an old version of yourself, maybe, an old habit where you consumed lots of substances, you don't know how to let that go. What is the hardest thing in your life right now that you're avoiding? Is it setting boundaries with people? Is it leaving an environment in general? Is it like completely just, shifting up your life and the person you've become? What is the hardest thing that you've been avoiding for a long period of time? And when you face that, when you actually go all in, head first into the hardest thing, it gets brought to light. The things of why you can't let go get brought to light, and that just shifts naturally, and it makes the process of letting go easier. The simplest example I can give you with this is me. There was a period of time where I was really, going through hard times. My life was falling apart. I was going through fibromyalgia. I was coming to the realization of relationships and these things. I was making a lot of changes, but I was drinking a bottle of wine a day. It was very unhealthy. It was so not me. It was, me trying to cope in relationships that I couldn't let go, in environments I couldn't seem to let go. So that's what it was about, is that I did the hardest, scariest thing. I donated all my stuff. I, set boundaries. I ended, connections. I left an environment completely. I booked a one-way ticket, flew across country. I was never triggered into binge drinking again, and that's something that I was always on and off triggered by for most of my life, and a lot of society is as well, is that, naturally we numb. Naturally we try to cope in different ways, because we have a hard time in letting go and healing and grieving and all of these different elements. But that's what it was. It was the hardest thing I'd been avoiding for a very long time. It was the hardest thing I didn't want to face. But when I did that one thing, it wasn't just the substances, that I couldn't let go, that I said that I didn't want to be, this person that I identify with, this habit. It completely shifted and never affected me again in that sense. It wasn't just like, oh, now I'm not triggered to, binge drink and all these things. Alcohol just didn't interest me. My taste buds changed, my perception of it changed, the identity I held with it changed. It just completely shifted, out of my life in that way. And I'm not saying I'm sober. I don't like to identify with anything, but maybe I'll have a glass of wine once every 6 months and it doesn't affect me. It doesn't really interest me. It's not something that I crave. It's not something that I'm intrigued by. And that's what it's about, is like when we face the hardest thing we don't want to, our life shifts. And that helps us to bring awareness to what elements of our lives and of ourselves are needing us to shift and let go of something. Let go of an environment, let go of a relationship, let go of a perception, let go of a habit, let go of an old version of ourselves. Let go of whatever needs to be let go, and you'll experience that shift in your reality. And the last step of letting go is the more opportunities and new things that you pursue, the easier it becomes to let go. Just like anything in life, like I just said, with our nervous system and all of these details in our subconscious mind, we only feel comfortable with what we come to know, even if it isn't healthy. So if you are somebody who doesn't try new things, doesn't seek new opportunities, we don't know what that's like. Our nervous system is always triggered to do the same. So if you are somebody who keeps pushing through the resistance time and time again to pursue new things, to seek new opportunities, to try what's new, in time, with change will always come change. So when you try new things, things shift. Things naturally need to be let go. When you're pursuing different, aspects, and you find that, you like these details in this career more than the career that you currently have, you need to let go of that career and pursue that thing. Things will naturally shift. Things will naturally come to a space that you need to let go, and things will just be let go from your life when you choose to change and grow. So when you're constantly pursuing new things, to try new things, to seek new opportunities, that really is, the path to make things easier, is that things are just going to start shifting for you as well. Also, you're getting comfortable in your nervous system, in your subconscious mind, to understand that you trying new things is safe. You doing all of these things amongst what you've never done before, all of what's unknown, it's easy and it's okay to let go. It becomes more of an easier process of letting go because it's just a part of the journey. If we don't let go of things for a prolonged period of time, that's what we've come to know. That's why we struggle with that. So it's about practicing trying new things that naturally you're going to have to let go of things in general, that in time your nervous system, your subconscious mind are going to associate that with safe. You're going to associate trying new things, going into what's unknown, doing hard things sometimes as your new level of, comfort in that sense, which is, pretty cool and pretty fun. So that is today's episode of Awaken Mindset, and I hope that it uniquely helps you in aligning with your path of pursuit and helping to assist you to let go of the things that need to be let go so you can step into a new embodiment of yourself and create that life and version of you that you are meant to step into. And that's a beautiful thing. So keep shining, lovely beings, and know that I believe in you in your unique way.